and they'll always support me. And you know what? That makes you rich. But I don't care about the money. The money comes with the customer satisfaction and making people happy and bringing people value. And that's what drives me. I never woke up one day and said, oh, I want to make a lot of money. I want to be rich. I want to do this. Ever.
You
not
didn't?
one moment. And not one moment. And you know what? I would say that's the secret to success. Because if you're going to approach a business or anything else, obviously you have to understand finance, and you have to understand the financials, and you have to understand profitability, and you have to understand logistics, and you have to understand those elements. But if you're going to say, I want to be a multimillionaire, and that's my goal, that's not a goal. That's stupid. Like, what are you going to do to create value in someone's life that they're going to reward you with that? Why are you worth that? It's like with Bezos, with Jeff and Amazon, focus on the customer. That's always been my philosophy, and always. And I've always taken care of every customer, and they've always come back in every business I've ever been involved in. And that ultimately translates into money, into being rich.
Talk to me about
we should do just one Think and Grow Rich.
I was like, we can do a Think and Grow Rich. Yeah, totally.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Do you get that? Because like you have your businesses. We did talk the other day. You have your other things, but you weren't talking about money. You were talking about, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing that, and those are all creating value and creating laughter and entertainment and value in someone's life, and that translates into money. Well, that's the byproduct of success.
And I think, like, if you really love what you do, the money comes. I do believe that. I mean, you have to work hard.
And you're good at it. You have to be good at it.
You have to be good at it. You have to work like a dog, but then the money comes.
Yes.
Well, talk to me about Guys Gone Wild, because I didn't even really know that much about it until we spoke on the phone the other day and you mentioned it. I'm like, what is this all about? Talk to me.
You haven't seen my Guys Gone Wild? My edition when I stripped down and did it? You didn't Google that, David.
Right. Here we are. And you're like, what did you Google about me? I Googled it I Googled it after we spoke. I Googled it very quickly after we spoke, but I didn't really know about this before you mentioned it.
I'm fucking with you. I didn't actually do it.
Right. Myself. I mean, I didn't see you in it. I was like,
yeah,
you like, could have done it. Right. I'm like, let me go in. Right. I'm like, let me add that to my list of things to do. But no, I never really knew that Guys Gone Wild was such a thing until you mentioned it on the phone the other day. Then I Googled it.
Oh, it was such a thing. And I'll tell you, the genius of Guys Gone Wild was the genesis of Guys Gone Wild and the strategy of launching Guys Gone Wild. Because I had already started rising up to the fame of Girls Gone Wild. So there's no way I could launch this thing. I was already on the defensive. I was already the poster boy for the George Bush Jr. administration. Of we're going to get at this guy for obscenity, and I was the new Hugh Hefner, the new Larry Flint, the new poster boy for sex. So my whole thing was, okay, I want to own everything. It's like you got to own Playboy and you got to own Playgirl. You got to own it all. So, and I did buy Playboy home video after that too, after Guys Gone Wild. But I had to own everything because I didn't want any competition. And monopolies are legal so long as you don't violate Sherman antitrust acts in the United States. That's the law. Or it's not a public service monopoly. But so we essentially had a monopoly, a legal monopoly. And what we did was, and what I did was, and my concept was, look, 20% are going to be women that buy this, 80% are going to be gay guys, for sure. Because what is a gay guy like the most? A straight guy. I'm just saying, other than everybody has their type. You have a bear, you have top, you have bottom, you have a whatever. But the straight guys are the forbidden fruit. I want to see a straight guy jack off. I want to eat. Do you know what I'm saying? So that was the concept. So, but what we did was, because I was facing so much controversial attack, I couldn't even be associated with this thing. So I set it up in another company, and I had other people run it in my office, of course. But I said, okay, nobody can know I'm involved. And I had these 3 women that I hired, and I said, okay, you're going to put them under contract. I said, you're going to be the owners of Guys Gone Wild. And what I did to launch this thing was put them all on The View and all these women's shows, all the shows that wouldn't take me number one. I'm like, I can't go on The View. I can't get this. And my publicist is like, like all these shows, they're getting everything. And everybody was like, oh my God, you see these girls are coming after you, and nobody knew. I'm like, oh yeah, they're coming after me. Nobody knew I owned it, right? I'm like, so I needed to create that whole ruse that these 3 girls were going out and fighting against me to make, like a competition type thing for publicity, back and forth. So they were going against me. Nobody knew I owned it. And it did incredibly well because it became an instant controversy against me. And it went right in my pocket.
That's really smart.
Thank you. It was methodical. Yeah. So it was gay guys, 80%, 20% women. And Guys Gone Wild was really good because, there's gay for pay, but, most part, straight, good looking college guys with hot bodies, same thing as Girls Gone Wild.
It was literally this. Okay, well, I'm gonna have to really go and not even for this interview. I'm gonna have to go and find this. And I found it, but I'm like, I need to spend some time with this.
Can I tell you who was a huge guy? I wonder if I should say this, but Elton John and David French, huge Guys Gone Wild fans. They love it. They watch every video. I remember for Elton's birthday one year, I brought him, he called me. David did actually. David's like, hey, can you bring Elton just 100 DVDs for his birthday? And I'm like, are you serious? You want me to show up to the party with 100? I'm like, okay. I'm like, it's not a gag gift. He's like, no, he really wants it. I'm like, all right. So
you're like, interesting.
Yeah. No. And then he calls me the next day and says, oh, that was wonderful. We loved them all.
Okay, well, I'm gonna have to really go find it now. But you mentioned no, for real. But you mentioned Playboy. You did a deal with Hugh Hefner, right?
Yeah, I did in the early 2000s. Then, so I started talking to Playboy because, frankly, they wanted to buy us, and then we got down and we did the financials, and we were too big. We needed to buy them, and then I ended up making an offer to them, to Hugh Hefner and Christy in Chicago, and I guess Linda Havard, she was their COO at the time, or CFO. And then ultimately he didn't want to sell to me, so I couldn't close the deal of buying it. And he was pretty pissed off that we were so much bigger than him when he saw the numbers. So then I ended up buying the home video division. And then and another ruse, I pretended like I didn't own that either. So then I'd go out in LA and they'd be like, oh my God, you see those commercials for Playboy? They're really coming after you. And I would be like, oh, they're really coming after me. I owned it too. I owned everything.
Did Hugh Hefner, was he jealous? Was it this is my legacy and you're bigger than he is?
Well,